Welcome to They Were Both Found Dead. My name is Adrian.
And I'm Ramsey, and today we're talking about fires.
You're fired.
Why was I going to say the same exact
Fired from this pod.
This pod is fire.
Oh.
Yeah, positive.
You're so cringe, Ramsey.
We have Ricardo the Fire Demon joining us once again.
Oh my gosh, perfect. For the fire pod.
He's going to light us on fire at the end of the episode. So if you want to see that, stick around to part 2, where he kills us.
He's gonna light us on fire. We're gonna light him on fire. Alright. So, Ramsey, how you been since, yesterday?
Yeah, we filmed last night, so we don't have a lot new to talk about. We went and saw a movie.
Yeah, we saw Undertone, and it was a pretty interesting movie. I would recommend watching it, but not more than once.
I don't agree with that. I think it was a really good movie. I think it might be fun to watch more than once so you can see the things that you didn't see the first time.
Yes, actually, I go with that too. I would say watch 2 times.
We're not here to tell you what to do. I'm just gonna try to argue with everything he says today.
Okay, whatever. But no, it was a good movie. Like, it implements sound really well, and I value that in horror movies. I feel like they should use it way more. Like Smile. I know that's really bad. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I feel like it adds sound, and yeah, that's creepy.
It adds a lot to it.
It does.
Follow us on Letterboxd. We're big movie Letterboxd people. Do you use Common Era and Before Common Era, or Before Christ and After Death?
Before Christ, after death. Because that's how they do it in Mexico too.
That's very unwoke of you. I'm just kidding.
It's just because it's more like spread out.
No, it's way more commonly.
Yeah.
That's how we used it in school too.
Yeah.
And I think that's insane. And it's because, I didn't know this because I was like writing this and I was like, why do we use that? And I'm trying to make an effort to use BCE and CE, Before Common Era and Common Era now. The way we have it like that is because in the year 525 CE, a monk was like, let's just go off of when Jesus died. And then everyone was like, okay, it's 525, and we're still doing that.
So are you going to use 5,600,000,000 instead of 2026?
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just instead of using the phrase before Christ and after death, you use before Common Era and Common Era. It's still the same years.
It is. Interesting.
I wish
But
I
what
was
does
using...
that mean?
What do you mean?
Before Common Era and Common Era?
As in before Christ is before Common Era, and then Common Era is after death.
Okay.
So it's the same exact measurements of time. It's just different words that aren't putting Christianity at the forefront of everything.
More religiously positive. Or what is it? Like less religious, I mean?
Yeah, more neutral.
Yeah, more neutral. That's what I mean.
Not everyone's a Christian.
More inclusive.
Yes. Oh my God, they're gonna yell at us just like Starbucks when we have red cups.
What?
Oh, people got super pissed when for Christmas one year Starbucks just did red cups instead of like decorated cups.
I have one of the most successful Starbucks in Trump Tower. Maybe we should boycott Starbucks. I don't know.
They're like, it's war and Christmas, war and Christians. You guys just have like our money, our song. Every president ever has been Christian. Majority of the government's Christian. We get all Christian holidays off. Yeah, the Christians are totally being hurt and attacked.
Snowflakes.
Anyways, to our bite-sized terror.
Yay.
Today I'm going to be talking about a horrible time because I feel like we're living in a time right now where we're like, wow, it sucks to be alive.
Yeah.
And then I do think about people who like lived through World War I, World War II, and the Great Depression. It's great we didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So I just had a seizure.
Which host?
I should get your ass for that. When historians talk about the worst year to be alive, they often point to 536 CE, Common Era. The catastrophic year appears to have begun with a massive volcanic eruption, or possibly multiple eruptions, that threw enormous amounts of ash and sulfur into the atmosphere. First-hand accounts describe the sun dimming dramatically. The Byzantine historian Procopius Porcupine wrote that the sun gave off its light without brightness, resembling the moon, and that this strange dimness lasted for more than an entire year. Could you imagine a full year without the sun?
Darkness?
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be kind of fun.
It wasn't. It wasn't fun, y'all.
I'm sure people got like really sick from that, like no sunlight.
Modern scientists studying ice cores and tree rings have found evidence supporting this description, indicating that volcanic aerosols spread across the northern hemisphere and block sunlight. I thought I was going to say something else, is why I said it in response to what you said. I thought it was a different part.
I was also paying attention until he stopped.
The result was a dramatic and sudden cooling of the climate. Average temperatures across parts of Europe and Asia dropped sharply, with some estimates suggesting declines of several degrees Celsius.
Oof.
The reduced sunlight shortened growing seasons and caused widespread crop failures. In regions that relied heavily on stable harvest, we're harvesting the whores, y'all. Oldest.
New York accent.
They would be the ones.
I'm walking here.
It's the oldest, oh my god, oldest job?
What is it?
Oldest profession.
What is?
Horn. Prostitution.
Oh.
Sex work.
Horn?
In regions that relied heavily on stable harvest, even a single failed year could be devastating. Historical records from the Byzantine Empire and parts of Asia describe unusual weather, failed harvest, and the beginning of severe food shortages. The sex part is what I thought I was going to be saying earlier. Tree ring data from Scandinavia and the Alps confirms that 536 marked the coldest summer of the last 2,000 years.
Damn.
So the environmental crisis quickly turned into a humanitarian one. As crops failed and food supplies dwindled, famine spread across large parts of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. So Asia's literally in the Middle, or the Middle East is literally in Asia. I wrote this. I'm a dumbass. Societies already operating close to subsistence levels had little buffer against a global climate shock. And the disaster did not end in 536. Chroniclers from Ireland to the Mediterranean recorded years of hunger and hardship following the event. In some areas, the cold and food shortages persisted for several years, compounding the suffering and destabilizing many already fragile political systems. Sounds like a good time to be alive.
Yeah.
A few years later, in 541 CE, the weakened populations of the Mediterranean world were struck by another catastrophe. Do you want to be on the pod?
Come over here, my boy.
Do you have something you want to say? No. Silent.
No comment.
No comment. No pops, please. So a few years later, in 541 CE, the weakened populations of the Mediterranean world were struck by another catastrophe, the outbreak of the Plague of Justinian. This pandemic spread rapidly through the trade networks of the Byzantine world and is estimated to have killed tens of millions of people.
Oh my god.
Ah! The plague repeatedly returned in waves over the following 2 centuries, and many historians believe the earlier climate disaster worsened the impact of the plague by weakening populations through malnutrition and economic disruption. Because of the convergence of environmental and collapse, famine, and pandemic disease, many scholars now argue that the mid-6th century marked one of the most difficult periods in recorded history. It stands out as the beginning of that cascade, the year 536. What started as a distant volcanic eruption darkened skies across continents, disrupted the global climate, and helped trigger years of suffering that reshaped societies.
Imagine living through that. People had it rough back in the time.
Yeah, no air conditioning, no fridge.
Bro, we're talking about that.
I immediately
They're going through volcanic eruptions.
We saw a volcano.
Yeah, I know. But like way worse back then, because, oh my god.
Does he normally do that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then scientific evidence suggests that another major volcanic eruption occurred around 540, sending more ash into the atmosphere and prolonging the cooling period. Harvests continued to struggle, societies that are already weakened by poor crops were pushed further into famine and economic hardship. In parts of Europe, archaeological evidence shows population decline, abandoned settlements, and reduced trade activity as communities struggled just to survive. Historians now see the years following 536 as the beginning of a long period of upheaval, often associated with the early medieval Dark Age.
Oh, so that's where they come from?
Yep.
Interesting.
Trade networks shrank, cities declined in many regions, and many societies were forced to adapt to harsher economic conditions. While people at the time had no way of understanding the volcanic forces behind the darkened skies, the memory of those years endured in chronicles describing a sun that dimmed, summers that failed, and a world that seemed to turn suddenly hostile to human life. For many communities, the aftermath lasted not months, but generations. Damn.
Generations?
Like, how many governments collapsed under that?
How did, like, society even continue after that? I feel like people just go crazy. And plus, people were like dumb back in the day. So imagine like just it being night now. They would.
I don't know
crazy.
about dumb, just less educated. I mean,
That's
now we have education, and people are still pretty dumb.
Yeah, I know, but they're like mystical dumb, you know, like
Yeah.
they don't know better.
They don't know nothing.
Yeah, so imagine just it going dark for a year. They think it's the apocalypse.
I would think that now.
Yes, same. But if they tell you about like
They
volcanic
really
ash
got
and-
it. Imagine being the only person left in Omaha.
I would love that. All right, well that was interesting. That's a really good one. I like that one.
Makes you feel a little better about our lives.
Yeah, true. How bad they had it back in the time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear. I have no knowledge about your fires.
Yeah. One of my fires is not exactly a fire, but it is.
You like switching it up.
I do, but it is a fire for sure. But it just turns
If it's not a
into
fire,
something
you're
more.
a fire.
You don't have the power to do
I
that.
just burped.
Why towards me?
It tasted like Taco Bell.
Ah! Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about the Station Nightclub fire.
I think I know about this.
Do you?
I think I do.
On the night of February 20th, 2003, hundreds of people gathered at a small rock club in West Warwick, Rhode Island. The venue was called the Station Nightclub. It was hosting a performance by the rock band Great White, a group best known for its late 1980s hits. By the time the band began its opening song shortly after 11 p.m., the club was crowded, with an estimated 460 people inside a building designed for significantly fewer.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, for a club. I don't know, how many people can a club fit?
Not usually that many, but it depends on the club size. Some clubs it's like 50.
Yeah, true. The club that I went to in Spain was multiple floors.
That was insane.
I know, isn't that
He
crazy?
FaceTimed me. It was like the middle of the night, our time. I don't know what time it was our time. It was a weird time, our time. And I answer, and I can't hear anything you're saying but music. And you're just like... And that was
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't be. It was fun.
I was probably drunk at that time.
Me and Cody were on the couch. We were like, hell yeah. Oh, yes, you
Love
were
that.
very drunk.
Yeah, I got really drunk that day. Hunter got escorted out because he was so drunk. You knew this.
I forgot about that. He did?
Yeah, because he would like, he started doing like this, and the security guards were like, yeah, you gotta get it, because they thought he was gonna puke or something, but he was just tired.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, and then we found him on the curb outside.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Did you see him get escorted out? Or did you just
No,
have to figure
we
it
looked
out?
for him all through the club, and then we went outside and he was there.
That sucks. Was he
Yeah.
asleep?
He was just like this.
So a little.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't get mugged.
Yeah, I
Thank God
know.
it was Spain, not like Philadelphia.
So, within seconds of the performance starting, a series of indoor fireworks known as gerbs were set off near the stage. The pyrotechnics were part of the band's show and were intended to create brief vertical sparks behind the performers. Inside, the sparks ignited soundproof foam that had been installed along the walls and ceilings around the stage. Let's be
That's
stupid.
not good.
Let's think for 1 second.
Can I put a sparkler up to this phone?
No.
Damn it.
Fuck.
I keep failing this quiz.
At first, the flames appeared small. Some people thought the fire was part of the performance, but within half a minute, the foam had caught completely, and the fire began to climb rapidly across the back wall.
That's crazy how fast fire can just become
Well-
not really a problem to a really big problem.
Yeah, when there's like flammable things like that, like foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever seen like a thing? What is it, like a foam just like,
No.
yeah, it happens really fast. The material burned intensely and produced thick black smoke that spread through the room almost immediately. So yeah, another thing you have to think about with fires is the smoke.
That's usually the killer.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew someone who I worked, it's when I had the Cat Midnight.
Mhm.
His owner's house was on fire, and I worked with their mom, and they like, only a little part was on fire. But the smoke contaminated just everything they owned almost, and almost everything in their house, and so they had to get so much stuff fixed that they had to come. He came and lived with us for a little bit. But yeah, smoke can not only when the fire is happening and inhaling it, but afterwards it can still kill you.
That's scary.
That is scary.
One time when I was a kid, my mom woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to come outside, and everybody was awake and standing outside, and I went outside, and the house like 2 blocks away was lit completely on fire, and we would just, I mean, we couldn't do anything. We just stand there and like watch the fire burn, and she wanted me to like not be asleep, you know, in case it spreads or anything like that.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That happened to us when we were younger too. It was the house behind ours, and because there was like an alley behind our house, and it was that huge house, and that lot is still empty. And also, not only was it that house, but we knew the girl that lived there. Like my sister is friends with her, and she came over all the time.
Oh my god.
And it was like, wow, we're literally watching everything they own just burn.
That's sad.
It was sad.
There was a tornado once that a big tree fell on my sister's friend's house, like right in front of our house.
Oh shit.
Like a really big tree fell on their house and like shattered half of it or something. I don't know.
Were they okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That's
I didn't
good.
remember anything, like any injuries or anything. Anyways, room almost immediately. The Station Nightclub was a single-story wooden building with multiple exits, but most people inside instinctively moved toward the front door they had used to enter, because I'm assuming that's the only one they know.
Yeah.
As smoke filled the room, visibility dropped quickly. Within a minute, the fire had spread across the ceiling, sending burning debris into the crowd. Video footage captured inside the club that night later showed how quickly the situation escalated. What began as a small flame became a fully involved structure fire in less than 3 minutes. By that point,
Oh my
much of
God.
the building was already engulfed. So, like, if you didn't get out of there in 3 minutes, you're dead.
As of right now, we have been filming for 25 minutes and 55 seconds.
Jet.
That's so many 3 minutes.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's such a short amount of time. It's hard to even like, wow. Your whole life changing in under 5 minutes.
It's scary. Yeah. Oof. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and apparently there's a video footage of this. I mean, maybe from the outside or something.
Oh shit.
Many people near the stage and dance floor attempted to move towards the main entrance. The doorway quickly became jammed as people pushed through the narrow corridor leading outside. Others attempted to reach side exits, but confusion, smoke, and darkness made navigation difficult. Firefighters arrived within minutes, but the fire had already spread through most of the structure. The roof collapsed not long afterwards. You know, now I understand how, like, why firefighters have to, like, leave immediately, and, like, they have to put their clothing on in like 5 seconds and then go
Yeah.
down poles and like get out of there in like a minute.
It's all about time.
Yeah. In total, 100 people were killed. More than 200 others were injured, many suffering severe burns or smoke inhalation.
Oh my god.
It became one of the deadliest nightclub fires in United States history. Investigators later determined that the polyurethane
Mm-hmm.
foam installed around the stage was highly flammable and not suited
For literal pyrotechnics?
for that type of space. Once ignited, it produced extremely hot flames and toxic smoke. The material had been installed as soundproofing, but was not approved for use in a public venue. So all of this could be prevented if we paid attention and we realized that some stuff is regulated for a reason. Authorities also found that the nightclub exceeded its safe occupancy limit that night. Legal proceedings followed in the years after the fire. The club's owners, brothers Jeffrey and Michael Durderian, faced criminal charges related to safety violations. The band's tour manager, Daniel, who had set off the pyrotechnics, was also charged. Daniel later played it.
I wonder if anything actually happened, because usually when we say, oh, they got charged, and this is then, and later they got fined or they were let go.
Yeah. It says right here that David later pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and served time in prison.
No,
One of the club owners also received a prison sentence.
that makes me happy.
And now there's a memorial there. Since it. Okay.
Aw.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad there's more, but that's so sad. So, to finish up part one, I'm going to be talking.
You're not going to be talking actually.
I'm actually going to be talking. To finish up part one, I'm going to be talking about the Hartford Circus fire. Have you heard of this?
No, but that sounds horrifying, and I'm ready to be horrified.
So, circuses have been popular in the United States since the 1800s. Have you been to the circus?
Yeah, many times.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, more like when I was a kid than now, but...
I never went to them as a kid, but we did go to that haunted circus, which I liked because it didn't have any animals, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that was fun. And one of our friends had to go up and stage and everything.
You were chosen first.
They tried to grab me to go up there, and I was like, they wanted to take my hat off and everything. I was like, no.
So, by the early 20th century, they were one of the few spectacles that could draw thousands of people from every level of society. The traveling shows brought acrobats, trained animals, clowns, and elaborate performances to towns that otherwise had little large-scale entertainment. The golden age of American circuses was dominated by countries like the Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus, which marketed itself as the greatest show on earth. Have you heard that before?
I've heard like the greatest pizza on earth.
Okay, right on. These productions were massive logistical operations that moved constantly across the country by train, carrying performers, animals, workers, and enormous quantities of equipment from city to city. Life inside a traveling circus was intense and highly structured. Performers and workers often lived in close quarters for months at a time, forming a mobile community. Many performers were born into circus families and began training as children, passing skills down through generations. Others came from around the world, bringing specialized acts such as trapeze, high wire, animal training, or acrobatics. One of my favorite paintings ever is of circus performers, specifically trapeze artists, and it's the two parents and their little boy. And the little boy had like fallen, hurt himself, and was like dying in their arms. And like you can see on their faces in their painting, they're like, wow, we did this for money.
Oh my god.
Beautiful painting.
That's scary.
So the work could be physically demanding and dangerous, with long travel days followed by multiple performances in a single afternoon and evening. Despite the glamour presented to audiences, circus life required constant discipline and resilience. Socially, the circus existed in an unusual space. Performers could achieve a kind of celebrity status, particularly star attractions like famous trapeze artists or animal trainers, yet circus workers were often viewed as outsiders because of their inherent lifestyle. Many communities welcomed the circus enthusiastically when it arrived, but regarded the performers themselves as part of a strange, temporary world that would vanish again in a few days. Economically, the industry ranged from wealthy owners and star performers to large numbers of laborers who handled rigging, animal care, and tent construction. By the 1940s, when the circus came to Hartford, Connecticut, it remained one of the most anticipated events of the year for many families. The Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus was still drawing enormous crowds with its traveling Big Top, a massive canvas tent capable of holding thousands of spectators.
That's not good for today's topic.
No, it's not. Crowds that size. In wartime America, because remember 1940s, with many forms of entertainment limited and daily life shaped by rationing and uncertainty, the circus offered a brief escape into spectacle and wonder. So it is important to also keep in mind during this time, there's not a lot of dudes around. The majority of this crowd is going to be women and children. When the show arrived in Hartford in the summer of 1944, thousands of parents and children packed under the Big Top, expecting an afternoon of excitement.
Oh, that's so sad.
Instead, the event would become one of the deadliest entertainment disasters in American history, remembered as the Hartford Circus fire.
That's so sad. I don't like this.
No, so yeah, that's me setting the scene. On July 6, 1944, thousands of spectators filled that massive canvas tent. The afternoon show had already begun, with acrobats and animal acts performing beneath the towering Big Top. Around 2:40 p.m., witnesses near one side of the tent noticed flames creeping up the canvas wall. The circus tents of that era were coated in a waterproofing mixture of paraffin wax and gasoline.
What?
Crazy combination. A common treatment meant to protect the fabric from rain, because, fabric, that's what we need to protect in this world.
That's so stupid.
Unfortunately, that mixture, obviously, made the canvas extremely flammable. Once the fire took hold, it spread with terrifying speed, racing up the side of the tent and into the overhead canopy.
It's gotta be like seconds that the whole thing lit on fire if everything's covered in gasoline.
Yeah, literally, just racing. Like we talked about during yours. It's crazy how fast these things can happen. At first, many people in the crowd did not understand what they were seeing. A circus band began playing the tune Stars and Stripes Forever, a haunting song used by circuses to signal disaster.
That is so traumatic. Imagine listening to that song after going through that.
I'm going to play it for you real quick so it can be fresh in your head.
That's scary. I don't like this. This is frightening me.
Be frightened. Not Domino's.
Oh, I just snorted.
You farted?
Snorted?
Started sneeze farting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. What is just sneezing?
Sneezing.
Oh, my bad. Snorted. I did not know there was a word for that. It's actually a banger. I was about to use another. It's fired.
So as I continue my tale, I implore you and you to keep in mind that for a majority of what comes to pass, that music is playing in the background.
It's kind of like the Titanic.
Yeah.
Titanic, where they played music to calm people down during like them dying.
That violin's in the museum. I saw it the other day. Well, I didn't see it in person. I saw a picture of it.
Mm.
So as the music swelled, workers and performers tried to alert the audience and direct them toward exits. But within moments, flames were racing across the ceiling of the tent, sending burning debris and molten wax dripping down into the crowd below, because the paraffin wax part of that mixture. Horrible. The paraffin coating that had once waterproofed the tent now melted and fell like flaming rain.
It's like lava falling on them.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty picture.
Panic spread rapidly through the audience. Families scrambled for the exits while thick smoke and falling pieces of burning canvas filled the air. The tent had been erected with side walls partially lowered, and in the chaos, many people struggled to find their way out. Some witnesses later described the horrifying moment when the enormous canvas roof began collapsing as the support poles failed, sending walls of flame down onto the ground. Parents searched desperately for children who had become separated in the confusion, while others tried to lift sections of the tent or push through the crowded exits. Firefighters and bystanders rushed towards the scene as the structure burned, pulling survivors away from the wreckage. Many performers saved who they could. The fire itself lasted only minutes, but the devastation was immense. When it was finally extinguished, the disaster that unfolded at the Hartford Circus had killed 167 people, many of them children, and injured hundreds more. Among the haunting details that emerged afterward were accounts of melted wax fused into clothing and skin, and the chilling memory of the circus band playing its emergency march while the tent became an inferno above the crowd. In the hours... Oh yeah, so if you're ever at a circus and you hear that song...
Run.
Just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
In the hours after the blaze, the scale of the disaster quickly became clear. Hospitals across Hartford were overwhelmed with burn victims, many of them children who had attended the circus with their families. Emergency responders and volunteers worked through the night treating the injured and attempting to identify those who had died. The fire had burned so intensely that identification was difficult in many cases, and authorities relied on clothing, jewelry, and personal belongings to determine who the victims were. One of the most haunting stories to emerge from the tragedy was that of an unidentified young victim who became known as Little Miss 1565, a child whose identity remained unknown for decades after the disaster.
Why 1565?
I'm assuming that's the number they were at in the morgue. Investigations soon focused on how the tragedy had been allowed to happen. Officials determined that the tent used by the Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus had been waterproofed with that mixture we were talking about earlier. Safety measures were also found to be inadequate for a crowd of that size. There were too few clearly marked exits, and the tent lacked a fire suppression system. Public outrage and grief quickly led to lawsuits and criminal charges against several circus officials. In the years that followed, the company paid millions of dollars in settlements to victims and their families. Good. And the disaster forced significant changes in fire safety regulations for large public gatherings. The legacy of the Hartford Circus fire reshaped safety standards for entertainment venues across the United States. Fire-resistant materials, better exit planning, and stricter inspections became far more common for tents and large temporary structures. Yet the human impact lingered for generations in Hartford. Survivors carried lifelong physical and emotional scars, and the memory of the fire became a defining tragedy in the city's history. Even decades later, the story remains a reminder of how quickly a joyful, public event can turn into catastrophe, and how safety regulations often emerge only after devastating loss.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Ramsey, horrifying.
The wax rain is what really sticks in my head, and the music.
Yeah, I think topics like these make me not want to do this podcast.
Topics like these are why we do this podcast.
I know, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's horrifying, and I don't want to know these horrible situations that have happened.
Topics like these make me not want to go outside.
Exactly, it scares me to do fun things.
Yeah. We can just do them with knowledge and with awareness.
And the probability that wax, lava, is gonna fall on you.
They're not allowed to use that anymore.
Oh, but imagine what other things they use.
I know.
Scary stuff, man.
Well, If you're scared, you should probably mosey on to part 2, because that's where we're about to go, and we're about to get scareder.
Scareder?
Scared.
Scareder? Is that a word?
It is.
I mean, it is,
Because
but
I
is
used
that
it.
sentence? Oh. Thank you for watching. It was a really tough one this time, but you should go to the next one so you can hear even worser ones.
Is worser even a word?
Alright, thank you guys. See you later.
Bye!